We're going to start this meeting at 2:30 p.m., February the 2nd. Before we begin, I'd like to read a land acknowledgement. Can you hear me? Okay. We are meeting today on the ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe people of the Robinson-Huron Treaties area. We honor the elders of the past, present, and future generations of Sauktsing, Shawnigan, Métis, and Wata Mohawks. We express our gratitude for their caring stewardship of the lands we share today, and we are committed to ongoing learning and responsible stewardship of those lands. Seguin will continue to build meaningful relationships with our First Nations people to help create a better future for generations to come. That's it. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And I would like to call for the approval of the agenda. All in favor? I have, and that's including the addendum. Does everybody have their addendum? There was additional correspondence for the public meeting, number 5, and there was a removal of staff reports. The removal item was staff report number PL-2026-016, zoning bylaw amendment application number R-2025-0015C, and consent application number B-2025-0017-C for Boyle, Buzans, and Manchi at the request of the applicant.
Just give me a second, Gail. We got a technical difficulty.
Does anyone have any disclosure of pecuniary interests and the general nature thereof? Councillor Fellner?
Thank you. I wish to declare that I may have a conflict of interest, pecuniary interest related to the following matter. Council meeting agenda item 13A, Ontario Land Tribunal Appeal Minor Variance Application number A 2025-0026-M Rouse, as I have an ongoing business relationship with Mr. Rouse.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of Council held January 12th, 2026 as circulated. Could I have that mover? And a seconder? Shit. All in favor? Just go.
Yeah, just go.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of Council held January 15th, 2026 as circulated. Can I have a mover? And a seconder? All in favor? The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn the regular meeting to hold a public meeting for the following matters. Consent application number B-2025-0038-H for Coons. Zoning bylaw amendment application number R-2025-0014-F and consent application number B-2025-029-F and B 2025-030F for Jacques. Consent application number B 2025-0027-H and B 2025-0028-H McDougall and Terrenvelt Sandy Bay Vacations, Inc. Could I have a mover? Ken Adams. All in favor?
That would be good. Start reading.
Just read. Council will now hold a public meetings for the proposed consent and zoning bylaw amendment applications. In accordance with the Planning Act, council will consider all matters placed before it prior to granting a consent or passing a zoning bylaw amendment. Anyone wishing to receive notice of the decision or notice of passing of a zoning bylaw amendment and who has not submitted such a request in writing should provide your full name and address to the clerk. No one other than the prescribed persons may appeal an application under the provisions of the Planning Act if they do not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin prior to the decision of council. Then the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. The purpose of the proposed consent application number B 2025-0038-H Coons is to grant the right-of-way over a portion of an existing private roadway to benefit a waterfront lot on Little Lake Joe. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which the notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property on January 15th, 2026, posting on the Township of Seguin's website, and by regular mail on January 19th, 2026. Notice was therefore considered provided in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to this application?
No correspondence has been received.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak in favor of or in opposition of this application? Please raise your hand to be recognized, and once recognized, move to the podium and identify yourselves by name and state your address. Does anyone here want to speak to this matter? Has anyone registered to speak to this application via electronic participation?
Robert Kerr of Lee, Roche and Kerr, agent for the applicants, is registered to speak to the application via electronic position, and he's on screen.
Judges. Okay, you can proceed. That is,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm here to answer questions. I don't know if I'm going to be presenting or if you're going to let the planning department give a summary of their report, but I'm here to answer questions. I think it's fairly straightforward. It's really a matter of a right-of-way that was dropped by a complicated legal issue, but it's been in existence for at least 65 years, and we're just recognizing that right-of-way.
does council have any questions?
You did.
The purpose of the proposed consent application numbers B 2025-029 and 030F Jacques is to serve a rural backlot with frontage along Highway 518 and create a new shoreline lot. The purpose of the associated zoning bylaw amendment application number R-2025-0014 is -F is to rezone the island to open space, rezone the backlot to rural, rezone the shoreline lot from SR1 to LSR zone, and to implement the recommendations of an EIS. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Just give me a moment. There's some people for this one that we may not have yet. Apologies. Written correspondence has been received from various individuals.
Where are we? Is, we forgot this. Yeah, you didn't read this one.
Apologies. Okay. Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property on December 18th, 2025. Posting on the Township of Seguin's website by regular mail on December 19th, 2025. Notice was therefore considered valid in accordance with requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to these applications?
Correspondence has been received from various individuals.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak in favor of or in opposition to these applications? Please raise your hand to be recognized, and once recognized, move to the podium and identify yourself by name and state your address.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. John Jackson. I'm a registered professional planner who is also the agent for the applicant, Mr. Frank Jacques. And there's some history here, but to make it perhaps as clear as possible, Frank owns about a 30-acre parcel around a small lake, Ferris Lake in the municipality. And he would like to accomplish two things. One is to create what I'll call is a road front, in this case, Highway 518 front lot, and create an exchange of a waterfront lot from the mainland with a island property that he has in the middle of Ferris Lake. So technically speaking, there be some net zero creation of new waterfront lots, but there's been a lot of submissions and concerns expressed by neighbors, as the correspondence reveals. Did not get this information until a couple of weeks ago, and I've been away since. So what we hope to do, Council and Madam Chair, is to try and respond to some of the questions, and between ourselves and the technical advisors, either come to solutions or pivot the application however it needs pivoting. So we know we've got some work to do, but as I say, the fundamental essence of the application is to create one new roadfront lot and exchange the island lot with a mainland lot. Now, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I think most of that work is before me to sort it out, speaking both with the technical advisors and perhaps some of the neighbors with respect to those concerns.
Does council have any questions for him? For Councillor Adams?
He's trying to create another lakefront lot too, though, isn't he?
Well, through you, Madam Chair, the strategy here was to give up the island.
Yep.
For the creation of a waterfront lot on, I'll call it the mainland, so that there would be no net increase in number of units of lots on the lake.
So he has one retained now, and then he wants to create another one.
He has two lots now with respect to his holdings. So he has the 30 acres on the mainland that fronts on the lake and also abuts the highway, and he has the island.
Okay.
So at the end of this transaction, the real net difference will be one new highway front lot. But there's a lot of moving parts to that sort of brief summary of what we're proposing here. So we got some work to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Getty?
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I'm glad to hear that, you know, that you're going to look at, obviously, there's a lot of work to do to either revise or change the application potentially here. In a normal case, you know, I think it would be reasonable for deferral, but in fairness to the number of people that are here to speak about it, I don't think that's fair either. So I'm glad that, you know, you're going to take the time to recognize the issues that have been identified by the neighbors to work at it, as you say, work at the application. So I thank you for that. I'm not asking for a deferral, but I think that I'm glad there's communication starting. So thank you.
Any other questions from council? Taylor, would you like to speak on this a little bit?
Certainly, through you, Madam Chair, just like to note that council hasn't seen the details of the island offer yet, so that would be something that comes forward at a future council meeting, as well as a full recommendation report. So what was in the notice and the base of this application has not been decided upon by council or by staff, obviously.
Thank you. I will ask if there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Councillor Fellner.
Mr. Jackson, approximately how big is this island?
It's been surveyed.
Yeah.
I'd be guessing. I have to go back to the report, Counselor. So it's at some point there was a calculation made that a small dwelling could be placed on the island.
Okay.
One of the areas of dispute is whether that was accurate or not, and we have to go back and sort of put our minds to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask if anyone else. Please state your name and your address.
You. All right. Hi, I'm Ross Barrett. My address is 48 Hawksview Lane as far as the matter at hand is concerned. Thank you for taking the time to let me speak today. Obviously, there's a number of things that have been shared here. I'm probably in this group the newest to the Seguin area, though I have deep roots in this region. My grandfather served on the Archipelago Islanders Association about 30 years ago, George Barrett. And so I spent many of my summers coming up to the Point of Barrow area and Shawnigan area. My family had the great privilege of purchasing a property from Frank Jacques in 2021, and it has been our joy and the home of our heart since then, and somewhere we want to continue to enjoy. Unfortunately, the consequence of that property that we have the privilege of having now and have the stewardship of has impacted the lake. And I think the last time Mr. Jacques and Mr. Jackson were here a decade or so ago, or 20 years ago, making the submission that the property that I now own could be built, the lake was seen as at a moderate severity or moderate risk of environmental impact. And really the only thing that's changed on the lake since then, and literally all of the property owners in the lake are here today or represented. The Mosers couldn't make it. They asked us to speak on their behalf and say that they were in favor of this. The only thing that's really changed is that the property I now own was built. And along with that, the lake has moved from moderate sensitivity to high sensitivity. And the calcium levels in the lake are below a critical level. I'm not an environmental scientist. My understanding is you want 5. Anything below 1.5 is critical, and Ferris Lake, which is a very small lake, is coming in at 1.3. So the ecological impact that's already happened by adding one cottage is non-trivial on this small lake. And that's something that, as stewards of this area, we're going to have to work through in the future. But part of the reason why there's so much concern about adding another property, I think some of my neighbors, or it's outlined in the submission, or Kat Silva is going to speak to it. We'll talk about the viability of this island as a building opportunity. I really feel it is not a zero-sum game. This island is quite small, quite narrow. I think the landscape space where somebody could build is in the order of 10 square meters or less. I'm looking at Pete. But I'll let others speak to that more. That said, the one other point I wanted to call out relevant to the recommendation that's in the town plan and the recommendation from our other guests here is that the town plan states that the MTO recommendation was that there be no further access off 518 directly to this proposed backlot, but that otherwise it would be okay if access was off Hawksview Lane, which is correct up to a point. What you see in the environmental recommendation is that there's more to that communication. It also says it would be allowed on Hawksview Lane if there was no increase in lots. If the existing 4 were the only 4, and that's 5 Hawksview Lane, the owners who are on the call, myself at 48, Anson Jacques at 60, and Frank and his property in between, that's 4. The idea that a new lot is created that's access for that actually goes against the MTO recommendation, which is not really identified in the plan. It seems to say yes when they're actually saying no, or no to this proposed change. That's my piece for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to speak? State your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Peter Engelking. We have a cottage on Ferris Lake. We're at 24 Engelking Lane. And actually I guess the reason I wanted to speak was because of the whole basis of this proposal was to exchange supposed building rights on this island in exchange for additional building rights on shore. And what I'm convinced of is that there are no building rights on the island because of the size of it. The island is in the back, in the west end of the lake. The whole one side of the island is surrounded by a marshy wetland on the lake. It's all zoned as an environmental protection zone. The environmental protection zone actually goes into the island, so the island is partially itself actually zoned as environmental protection. There is the island, I guess, it is owned by the applicant. There is a small building envelope that they pointed out could be on that island, and the way they've drawn it is a building envelope that shows property that's beyond the 20-meter setback. It's a triangular area that scales, if you scale it off, if the scale is correct, to around 40 square meters. But it's in a triangular shape. It's not in any kind of shape that you could actually build a building on, unless there was a variance and the shoreline setbacks were reduced. On top of that, there would be zero room for a septic system or a sewage disposal system. So a variance would have to be given, I guess, or not a variance, or the bylaw would have to be amended so that the EEP zone was either moved or ignored. You would have to have an amendment to say that the shoreline setbacks would be reduced to less than 20 meters. You would need to increase whatever building envelope that is there to more than double its size just to accommodate a minor septic system and a building. And on top of all of that, this island is basically a rock outcrop. It looks a little bit like the island on our Seguin sign. You know, that rock that sticks up? The part of the island that's larger, where the building is like a sort of a hump of a rock that's high in a small flat area. And that area is perched up high on a rock. It's got maybe 3 meters above the lake. It's got no overburden on it, very, very little soil. And it's got all around the edges are very steep slopes that the rock slopes, slopes down to the water. In any case, it wouldn't meet any of the requirements of the Mattawa Conservation Authority to build a septic system or a sewage system on the island. I guess in addition to that, when the applicant, when the Jocks made an original application to divide the property up, which was in 2005, the original application was denied at the time in the beginning because they didn't provide any information with respect to the capacity of the lake. What ended up happening was that the staff report at the time in 2006 was sent back to, I guess, John Jackson here, at the time and said, you need to look at the capacity, you need to do a bunch of things. And so in 2007, there was a SER prepared by Mikulski Nielsen. And so that was the environmental, site evaluation report that was used at the time to determine what the requirements would be to get the subdivision they have now. And so what happened is he had two lots. One was not this island, one was a peninsula, and it was a separate lot because it was the shore allowance didn't come all the way, so it separated the peninsula physically from the shore. And he had the main land lot, and he was given two additional lots. He was given two additional lots at the time. And at the time when he was given approval, the Mikulski Nielsen report specifically said at the time that their recommendation was that if the lots were given, they should be provided, or they were able to divide the subdivision, there should be a minimum shoreline buffer zone of 30 meters, not 20. And there should be, and the septic systems all should be placed 50 meters from the waterfront. And that was provided by that was submitted by the planner, John Jackson, for the client, and it was the Mikulski Nielsen report. There is a new site assessment report that was submitted with this current application. And basically what that is provided by Riverstone, I guess, engineering. And they have addressed, and they looked at all the parameters within the property itself, whether it could hold, the three lots that they're talking about now, those three lots. And in that report, they basically said that their report is in addition to the original Mikulski Nielsen report. And in that report, they also state that the septic system should be kept as far away as possible from the shore. But they mention a 20-meter setback, not the 30-meter setback. So those are the reports. And so what I'm saying is that in order for that island to be considered a viable lot, you would have to ignore all the recommendations that these two site assessment reports are given with respect to how far these septic systems and buildings should be from the water. That combined with the fact that this thing is sitting in an environmental protection zone makes me feel that very strongly that there are no building rights on this island at all that they could give up. And on top of that, I would think that the Mattawa Conservation Authority should be, if there is going to be any consideration to this, to believing that this is a viable lot, the Mattawa Conservation Authority should be involved. They should be at least consulted, because I know for a fact that they require 0.9 meters of material underneath any drainage system. They will not allow any development or any septic tile beds or anything like that on areas that have greater than 25% slope. And this is non-permeable soil on the island. It's a rock. It's basically a rock that sticks up and slopes down to the wetland on one side and to the other side. So what I believe is that if anyone is going to do an assessment of that island, they should be using the same parameters that are being used for the entire lake and the entire site. Okay, so that is my, I guess, my response to them saying it's not a net zero effect. They're trying to add another lot to the lake, because this island is not a building lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? State your name and your address, please.
Hello,
My name's Wally Engelking. I'm an owner on the lake as well. I'm at 23 Engelking Lane. I've been going through a lot of the official plan, the bylaws, previous correspondence from original proposals to the proposals now. I've come up, and it's all in the correspondence that I believe you've all received. What I see very clearly is that much of this doesn't meet any of that, any of the official plan requirements, the zoning requirements. I would like to say and agree with Councillor Getty, there's a lot more work to be done here. I don't know how much work more can be done, because if it doesn't, if it doesn't meet the requirements, the lake is, over capacity. There is 10 lots on this lake, which the island would be an 11th lot. And now we're trying to get make a swap for the island, give the island to the municipality to create another lot on shore. It's already over capacity. What my further question is to council, does the municipality really want an open space island on a private lake that doesn't have public access? And if they were, that's a different thing. Then it would be justified as a public space, significantly provide, parking, provide public access. Like that just, to me, doesn't make any sense. I think there's a lot of work to be done here, and I just can't see how the work that has to be done is going to substantiate this further development of this on this small lake. That's all I would like to convey to council, because it seems very simple in my mind, but I could be missing something. Thank you, council and mayor.
Thank you very much. Just state your name and your address, please.
Yes, I'm Philip West, 19 Engelking Lane. And thank you for hearing us today. I probably don't have a lot more to add. When Eve and I look out the window, we're lucky. We're a permanent resident on Ferris Lake. And every now and then, Eve and I look out the window and we pinch ourselves at the blessing we have being there. We have a 60-year association to the lake, as do Peter and Wally. And so a keen interest in what happens there, and a keen interest in the environment and in protecting it, and protecting not just our human neighbors, but all of the other neighbors that we enjoy. We've outlined a number of them in our letter. So, I trust Wally and Peter's analysis explicitly. I know they have the expertise to go through planning reports and environmental assessment studies much better than me and pick up on things that I can't see. But so I certainly trust their analysis on that. And I guess all I really wanted to add is just the way I see it. The offer of an island is a bit of a red herring. It has no... Even if it had any developmental potential, I think the obstacles towards developing there are not worth the reward you would get at the end if you were able to overcome those obstacles. So I agree that I think we're seeing a net increase in developable lots on the lake. Now, I did think that the Hubbles wanted to speak. I don't know if they're waiting in line via Zoom, because I thought they wanted to address.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. Okay, because I think they had some important information that they wanted to relay. And was Kat going to speak today? Yeah, she's also online. So okay, I'll go from there and leave it to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is that everybody? Okay, thank you. Has anyone registered to speak to these applications via electronic participation.
Yes, I'm going to get this name wrong, but Ms. Silva of Denton's Canada LLP representing surrounding landowners and Alan and Betty Hubel have registered to speak to these applications, and they're all present.
Good
Trying to get her
afternoon.
name right.
There she is.
This,
Hi,
would you
good
like-
afternoon.
you would like to start? You go ahead.
I'm happy to start. Betty, Alan, are you okay with that? Wonderful, thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katerina Sliva. You're welcome to call me Kat for short. I think that makes it easier for everyone. I am a municipal planning lawyer with Denton's LLP. My address is 77 King Street West in Toronto, although today I join you from Montreal. I'm glad to hear you. It's just to hear you back. I mean, my connection is working. I represent several of the landowners and residents surrounding Ferris Lake who are neighbors to the land subject to these applications. My January 19th, 2026 letter is included as an attachment to the preliminary staff report at Appendix D. I won't take you through the whole letter. I trust that council has reviewed it, but I just will hit the highlights and try not to be repetitive to those that you've already heard from. I will say that these landowners are clients. So many of the folks that you've already heard from, in addition to the Mosers, they rely on Ferris Lake, not just for recreational purposes, but also for clean drinking water. I want to point out that many are full-time residents. They're not vacationers. As you heard from many, they're concerned with the new development lots that the applications propose for Ferris Lake, a lake that is already a high sensitivity lake by the township's own policies and standards, and is already exceeding capacity by twice what is outlined in the township's official plan. We respectfully request that council not approve these applications. The reasons for the request are outlined in my letter, and as I said, I'll only briefly touch on some of them. Starting with, the applications are not consistent with the Township of Seguin official plan and the provincial policy or planning statement 2024, which I will refer to as the PPS for short. It's a tongue twister if I go through it every time. As it relates to that PPS or provincial planning statement, the report that you have before you is wrong. All development applications must conform to the 2024 PPS. That's the new PPS, not to the previous version as is analyzed and included in Mr. Jackson's planning justification report. As of October 20th, 2024, the PPS is the operative planning framework in Ontario. There is no interpretation needed here. Although us lawyers would love to interpret transition policies, there are none. The province has spoken. It said this is what we have to follow. Mr. Jackson's report must be updated to address the current policy framework and analysis if it is to be relied upon by this council. To assist staff and Mr. Jackson, I refer to page 2 of the PPS, which says that the provincial planning statement is a policy statement issued under the authority of Section 3 of the Planning Act. It came into effect on, as I said, October 20th, 2024. All decisions, it applies to all decisions with respect to the exercise of any authority that affects a planning matter made on or after October 20th, 2024. I'll move on from that. Again, that's page 2 of the PPS itself. As I said, we don't need to get into interpretation policies. The province has spoken, and it's clear that this is the PPS that applies. As it relates to the applications that are being considered today on a preliminary basis, this is not the first development application that Mr. Jacks has filed with the township to divide up and develop land around surrounding Ferris Lake. You heard quite a bit about this already today, so I won't belabor what you've heard. I will only say of relevance that the 2006 application, which staff did not support at that time, when Ferris Lake was a moderate sensitivity, was approved by council at the time. And now we have another evolution or another application with Mr. Jacques requesting more land division and development of Ferris Lake when the lake is now at high sensitivity or a high sensitivity lake. Many of the landowners, and you've heard from some, purchased their lots from Mr. Jack on the understanding that this is a quiet lake with limited homes surrounding it. Representations were made, including, as you'll hear from the Hubbles, the restrictive covenant that was made to the benefit of Alan and Betty Hubble, the neighboring landowners to the east, when they purchased their lands. I know that Alan and Betty will speak to that, so I won't get into that restrictive covenant matter. And I will move on to speak about Ferris Lake and how it is designated as a high sensitivity lake in Appendix 1 of the official plan. Appendix 3 establishes a recreational carrying capacity for the lake at 5 residential units. The applicant's materials acknowledge this. So they tell you that Ferris Lake is already a capacity, but then what they don't do is identify that there are already 10 existing residential lots around the lake, each with their own parcel register. So each parcel is separately conveyable or can be sold. And these applications will create an 11th shoreline lot and a 12th back lot that I think should be counted as a 12th lot because of its proximity to the lake and the potential impacts on the lake. In particular, I believe it's proposed that it will take servicing from the lake. This is well beyond the carrying capacity established in the official plan for Ferris Lake. Additional development will further impact an already highly sensitive lake. Moving on to just some clarification regarding this proposal of an island to offset the creation of an additional lake lot. The applications really rely on this dedication of a 0.4 hectare island owned by Mr. Jacques to the township and justify this creation of the lot with an offset to new residential development. However, I submit to you that the island is not developable. It exists as an island, it exists as a parcel, but it cannot be developed without amendments to the official plan and to the zoning requirements. In other words, the applicant is not giving up anything. For example, the island does not meet the official plan minimum frontage or area requirements, which are 200 meters of frontage and a minimum area of 1.2 hectares. Also, the setback requirements of the zoning bylaw are not met and would actually negate any or all developable areas on the island. As you see in my letter, I won't take you to it now, but you see a map in my letter that was included that shows that there is split zoning, and that's in part what I'm referring to. The building envelope that you have outlined in the planning justification report I submit is not accurate and does not consider the correct setbacks. That island has split zoning, with the western portion zoned environmental protection and the eastern part zoned limited service residential. With the required 20-meter setback from the environmental protection zone, any building envelope that is left is pretty much eaten up by environmental protection buffers. In addition, there's no consideration, as you already heard, as it relates to the sanitary sewer system and the policies that would be related to that, where it would be located and the setbacks that would be related to sanitary sewer systems and septics. So the island would ultimately require a separate official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment to be developable. You can't count that as a developable lot today. And nothing is provided to show us if and how that could be accomplished. The island is not a developable lot, and offering it to the township to offset additional development along Ferris Lake is a farce. It would not be developed, so nothing is being given up. Accordingly, the applications do result in a proposed net increase to Ferris Lake and its carrying capacity, contrary to your official plan policies. And even if council were to accept the island as an offset, again, there are already 10 lots on the lake where the carrying capacity in your official plan is 5. I'll move on just briefly to speak about other shortcomings of the application. In particular, those 2 shoreline lots that are proposed in the applications do not meet the official plan minimum lot frontage requirements. They are only proposed to have frontages of 108.5 meters and 173.4 meters, whereas Appendix 1 of the official plan requires a minimum of 200-meter frontage for lots along Ferris Lake. I don't see with the applications an official plan amendment, one would be required. With respect to the backlot and backlot development, I'll simply say that backlot development is strongly discouraged in the township's official plan, that third lot will create an additional backlot scenario. I'm now referring to the lot that won't have lake frontage, of course. The waterfront lot policies of the official plan expressly discourage backlot development when considering waterfront lot creation. And while the policies allow limited considerations of these backlot developments, the township's stated intent is to restrict this form of development around sensitive lakes. Again, this is a highly sensitive lake. Servicing the backlot would place additional strain on the already at capacity lake system, where it would be proposed to be from Ferris Lake. Turning briefly to the environmental concerns, there are numerous environmental concerns that must be taken into account when evaluating new development, in particular here at Ferris Lake, including but not limited to lake phosphorus levels, species at risk, of which there are many, wetlands, and other local ecological features. Accordingly, the site evaluation report is very important in this consideration and in considering the appropriateness of the applications. That report is not accurate, and you've heard briefly already. It contains gaps. Importantly, it evaluates the lake as a moderate sensitivity lake, despite it now being classified as high sensitivity by the township. Further analysis should be provided, and I'm glad to hear from Mr. Jackson that it will be carried out. I'm open to having conversations with Mr. Jackson as appropriate in order to address our clients' concerns. You have heard already regarding the Ministry of Transportation comments, so I won't repeat them here, simply to say I don't see that they've been addressed. The Ministry of Transportation is concerned with increased traffic at Hawksview Lane intersection, and also with any additional lots being created with access to Hawksview Lane. Overall, the applications represent an incremental intensification of development around a highly sensitive lake, which is already over capacity for development. The applications do not conform with and are not consistent with the policies of the township's official plan and the PPS. I included many policies for reference in my letter. I won't take you through them here in the interest of time. The proposed dedication of the island, as you already heard from many, does not offset the impacts of additional shoreline or backlot development here, since that island is not developable. The applications fail to adequately demonstrate conformity with lake capacity, environmental protection, and traffic safety requirements. For all of these reasons, the applications do not represent good planning and should not be approved. We respectfully request that council refuse the applications when they're brought back to you. And I thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. And now the Mosers, is that right? Like to speak? Oh, I thought it was Moser. Okay.
All right, are we on?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Betty Hubble, and my husband is here at my side, Alan Hubble. We would like to, our address on Ferris Lake is 5 Hawksview Lane. When we purchased our property from the applicant, Frank Jocks, one of the conditions of the agreement of sale and purchase was the creation of a restrictive covenant on a portion of the seller's retained property adjacent to our purchase. I'd like to read a letter from our lawyer, Lisa M. Bund of Parry Sound, which addresses this issue. I confirm that it was a term of the agreement of purchase and sale when you purchased from Franklin Jocks that he would register a restrictive covenant against a portion of his retained lands, namely Part 2, Plan 42R-20512, forbidding the erection of any buildings, docks, decks, tree clearing, or septic system on the aforesaid land. This representation and warranty survived the closing of the transaction. In compliance with this term, the restrictive covenant was registered by Mr. Jock's solicitor as GB 93608 on July 18th, 2016. I have attached a copy of the same. I've also attached a copy of the plan highlighting Part 2, 42R 20512, and that has been sent to all councillors and also the planners and clerk. I checked the title to Mr. Jock's property on January 27th, 2026, and the restrictive covenant is no longer registered. It can only be deleted by application, usually requiring the consent of the benefiting party, which is you, meaning Alan and myself. However, there is no evidence of an application to delete, and I confirm your advice that you did not consent to the removal. I tried to obtain a copy of the registered document from the Land Registry Office, and the system stated it was not presently available, but could be provided within 72 hours. The following day, the Land Registry Office advised that the document could not be provided as it had been withdrawn. A document is withdrawn when the Land Registry Office requests amendments following registration and the registering solicitor fails to do so within the requisite time period. That lawyer is obligated to disclose this fact to other solicitor, in this case me, meaning Lisa Lund, and remedy the situation. I can confirm that no such notice was provided to me by Mr. Kesselman, who was Mr. Jock's solicitor on the transaction. While I cannot speculate as to how this happened, I can advise that the result is not acceptable and should be remedied at the seller's expense. I tried to send an email to Mr. Kesselman to ascertain why the document was withdrawn and no notice provided or corrective measures taken, but according to the Law Society of Ontario, he is no longer practicing law. Please ensure that you advise the municipality that Mr. Jocks should be aware of the restriction that he agreed to in the purchase and sale contract and the document he signed to register the covenants against his property. Moreover, he is in breach of a term of a contract that survives closing and should be remedied at his expense. I would further submit that if the municipality is inclined to approve a severance, they can and should make it a term of the severance that the erection of any buildings, docks, decks, septic systems, or the clearing of any trees on Part 2, Plan 42R-20512 is forbidden, and that this restriction shall be registered against the title to his land in a consent agreement pursuant to Section 51, bracket 26 and bracket of the Planning Act.
Excuse me, I'm just going to interrupt you for a sec because I was letting you go, but council has this correspondence, just so you know, you don't need to read it to them because they actually have it.
Okay, that's
It
the
is part
end
of
of it. Sorry for taking you time, but I wanted everyone to be clear on this issue. It's an important one. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else registered? No? Does council have any questions?
Just gotta let somebody in for this.
The purpose of consent application numbers B-2025-0027-H and B-2025-0028-H is to permit two lot additions to benefit 36 and 37 Farm Sandy Bay Road. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which the notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property on January 14th, 2026, posting on the Township of Seguin's website and by regular mail on January 19th, 2026. Notice was therefore considered to provide in accordance with requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to these applications?
No correspondence has been received.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak in favor of or in opposition to these applications? Please raise your hand to be recognized, and once recognized, move to the podium and identify yourself by stating your name and address. Has anyone registered to speak to these applications via electronic participation?
Kim Oberhaus of Law Professional Corporation agent for the applicant is registered to speak and is available on screen.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
My name is Kim Isabel Oberhaus. I'm representing Sandy Bay Vacation Inc. I am at 39 Dominion Street in Bracebridge. I'm here to answer any question council may have. And I would also like to add, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding 37 Farm Sandy Bay Road as well.
Does council have any questions? Council has no questions, I guess.
Just turn it off and turn it back on. There you go.
Okay. So council has no questions. We'll move on. So thank you. Council will now close the public meeting and reconvene to the regular meeting.
Thank you.
The public meeting held for the following matters is hereby closed and the regular meeting is hereby reconvened. Moved by can't remember your name. I got it, thanks. Thank you. Okay. Zoning consent application number B-2025-0038-H Coons. Zoning bylaw amendment application number R 2025-0014-F and consent application numbers B 2025-029-F and B 2025-030-F. Jacques. Consent application number B 2025-0027-H and B 2025-0028-H. McDougall, Torvalet, Sandy Bay Vacations, Inc. All in favor? Of what? Where do I go now? What do I have to do?
You read it there, so all in favor of closing the public meeting.
All in favor of closing the public meeting?
Okay.
Yeah, what I want to know is like, so this one I understand there's no problem if there's a job.
There isn't.
So I just wanted to know, nervous.
Okay, no.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby grant provisional approval to consent application number B-2025-0038-H Coons, subject to the conditions set out in the decision. Moved by all in favor?
So should have just asked. It doesn't matter if there was discussion before you vote.
Oh, okay.
Do that
Sorry.
this one.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby grant provisional approval to consent application number B 2025-0027-H, McDougall and Torvalet, and B 2025-0028-H, Sandy Bay Vacations, Inc., subject to the conditions set out in the decision. Moved by and now, does anybody have any questions or anything to add? All in favor? Carried.
Moving on to shore road allowances. Did you read this one?
Council will now considering the following road allowance application, shore road allowance application number RAS-2025-0003-H, Caravaggio, Clear Lake, bylaw number 2026-008. Have any written objections been received related to this application?
No written objections have been received.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak to this application? Please raise your hand and be recognized, and once recognized, move to the podium and identify yourself by name and provide your address. Nobody? Has anyone, there's nobody here. Has anyone registered to speak to this application via electronic participation?
No one has registered to speak to this application. Take that. Yes.
Bylaw number 2026-008 being a bylaw to sell part of an original shore road allowance application number RAS-2025-0003-H. Caravaggio is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Moved by? Any questions? All in favor?
Okay, and your next item, the shore road allowance, the second one.
Now what do I do?
Ask Taylor to speak to this. So just introduce the item and ask Taylor to speak to it. Just read
This and ask who?
Taylor to speak to it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So short road allowance application number RAS 2024-006-H for Scott, Little Whitefish Lake, report number PL 2026-009. Taylor, could you speak to that one, please?
Yes, certainly. So this is a direction report, or just confirming which direction to go. And the Scott sisters are here to speak to this as well. So they were at the beginning of the meeting. Since the last report came out where we confirmed adding a right-of-way in that part 4, you can see that on page 394 of the agenda, there's a blue arrow pointing to it. After that report, the neighbor noted that they wanted a right-of-way where the red box is going to be the subject of this report, because it claimed adverse possession. Staff's opinion is that if we're selling lands and we're worried that there could be potential neighbor conflicts, it's best to sell it with a right-of-way, so the two properties will essentially not have anything to do with each other, and the land we're selling is free of any arguments. But the applicants do not wish to provide a right-of-way, and I believe they're willing to run the risk of future land use conflicts. So we're bringing it to council for clarity and confirmation.
Thank you.
Yeah, let them speak if they wish.
There's someone there that would like to speak on this application. I can't see your name. Sorry, if you could state your names and then you can begin. You're on mute.
Hi, it's Sandra Scott Tapia and Pamela McWhorter. Our other sister, Susan Scott Millette, had to leave the meeting.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when the Vivaldi's first objected last year to our purchase, we did agree to grant them a right-of-way based on the original legal right-of-way. So we had agreed to extend that, and that is reflected in the latest survey that we have. Now, we were quite surprised to see this requests for adverse possession to add a second right-of-way to allow them to enter a private driveway off of the original right-of-way that we'd already agreed upon. We do not agree with the claim for adverse possession.
60 years.
For 60 years. That is certainly not the case. That driveway that is being discussed was in fact built by the previous owners before the Vivaldis. So it certainly has not been in use for 60 years. And the owners prior to the Vivaldis all accessed the property by the original right-of-way, which extended down further towards the lake and then veered to the left towards the original cottage, which was a log cottage, right close to the shoreline, which is located on the what is now shore allowance part of the property. The owners at that time, the Hallers, eventually tore that cottage down and built a new cottage further back onto their property, but they continued to always access it by the original right-of-way, as did the subsequent owners until the owners before the Valdis, who were called the Hutchinsons. So we don't feel that we should have to allow them to have two access points from our property, in effect giving them two easements. So that's what we tried
That's
to
our position.
That's our position that we tried to outline in our letter.
Thank you. Councillor Getty?
Thank you very much, Councillor Finson. So I've had many discussions with the applicants here as well as staff in regards to this. I think the applicants, just for council, we discussed this when it was brought up before. Applicants are looking to, it's owned by three sisters. They're looking to, for lack of a better term, get their ducks in order from an estate planning perspective, and are looking to allow, set it up for their children and grandchildren in the future. They've worked with staff for the purchase of their shore road allowance. There was some concerns raised by the neighbors, which the Scots have addressed in regards to a restrictive covenant to prevent development on one small portion of the shore road allowance. There is legal access which has been granted to the neighbor's property, as seen on the survey. There are disputing letters from lawyers, which happens. One saying from the neighbor saying that there is adverse possession, and one from the applicant saying that there is no adverse possession. While I appreciate and support staff looking to ensure that there are no potential neighbor disputes with the selling of a shore road allowance, there is no implications to the township if there, in fact, in the future, if the property is sold to the applicant, it's not a situation where the township will be involved in any ongoing civil matter between the two. That would be potentially, if it did happen, would be a civil matter between the applicants, the Scots, and the neighbor. The Scots understand that. We've spoken about it. And as such, I am asking council to support option number 2, which is to proceed with the application, allow the Scots to put the estate in order and to move forward. Hopefully there will be no dispute in the future between the Scots and their neighbor. But if that is a civil dispute between two neighbors, not anything involving the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I'm asking for council direction for option number 2. And I think you might want a show of hands from council to see if there's consensus to move forward with that.
Would council like to do a show of hands? Oh, for option 2? Oh, you ask a question. Okay.
Clear on one point.
Go ahead, Councillor Fellner.
So under option 2, if I'm reading this correctly, the neighbor or whoever gets the access adjacent to this property would have a legal right of way registered on title to get into his property, correct? Taylor?
Yeah, I can jump in there. Yes, they do have a right of way in that part 4 on page 394. It's the blue box there. It's triangular in shape.
Yeah, yeah.
What they want is an additional part where the driveway meanders off of where it should be and where that red arrow is.
Oh, oh. Hmm.
I think it's closed.
Yeah, no, okay. I get it.
Councillor Getty.
So when the original application was put through, you can see that part 4 extension of the existing right of way was, although that right of way was there was a request by staff that the 2 pins on the left side of that triangle be added just to ensure that that was on title. So that road allowance is what's going up. The dispute is over the little bit of gravel that has, we'll call it, drifted from outside of that right of way that's there. So the Scots had the property resurveyed, added those 2 pins to satisfy the concerns of staff. And as I say, I've been on the property. I understand what the issues are, and I think that they have met their obligations to the township. Thank you.
Any further questions?
In favor of option.
Anybody, is everybody in favor of option 2? Can I have a show of hands?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So staff will proceed with option 2. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the staff reports as presented on the agenda for February the 2nd meeting of council. Moved by? Seconded by? Okay, now what do I do?
Let's vote on it. All in favor?
All in favor? Very much.
Jesus.
There you go.
Just a chair.
Hey, sorry. As per staff report number BL-2026-001, Administrative Monetary Penalty, AMP System Implementation, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby direct staff to commence the process and prepare the necessary documents for council, consideration to implement an administrative penalty system program. Moved, seconded by? And now, is that anybody's discussion?
And this one, Sean.
Would you like to speak to it, Sean?
Yeah, through chair to council. So this report was brought to council to just I guess get approval to move ahead with bringing this system on board. Very early stages. So yeah, we're just looking at streamlining the work for bylaw and the process of issuing fines and collecting of charges.
Anybody have any questions? Councillor Getty?
Not a question. I just want to say thanks, Sean. It's been a long time coming, and I think it's an excellent report. I look forward to see where you're taking it. I think it's very balanced, a very level approach to it. And as we move forward with some of these things, like our waste management strategy and some of the ongoing problems that we're having within the municipality, I think this will clearly define it, better allow us as a township to address it and protect the interests of affected residents that are paying the price for this. So thank you very much for all your work on it.
Any other questions? Anything to add? All in favor of the implementation of the AMP system? All in favor? Thank you. Report number CS-2026-001, annual drinking water sample results. Dominique? Can't hear you. You're still on mute, I think.
You're off mute, Dominique, but we just can't hear you. The mic must be turned down or something.
Perhaps while Dominique works through her technical difficulties, I'll do my best to provide a high-level overview. The township has responsibilities under the Safe Drinking Water Act 2002 to undertake testing to ensure that water is safe for drinking at all facilities across the municipality. And as is usually the case, our 2025 results continue to produce very clean water, ensuring that users of our facilities are drinking safe water throughout the year. This is an annual report just to provide an update to say we continue to move forward in a very positive way, and the work that we do year in, year out continues to pay off with high quality drinking water for our residents. Madam Chair, this is just an information report. We're just for you to receive.
Okay, we'll move on then. 7C. Yeah.
This, somebody here to speak to it, so I'll get you to read the resolution of mover and seconder.
Bylaw number 2026-007, being a bylaw to issue a certificate of cancellation for 128 Gray Roads, 4903-010-003-11025. B 2026-0036-H Schwartz is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Moved by. Have a mover? Seconder? And who?
Is that all? There's
Okay, go ahead, Brady.
Thank you. The purpose of this application It's to permit a certificate of cancellation, which essentially cancels a previous consent and will allow two lots to merge into one conveyable parcel. This follows a condition of approval for 128 Grays Road. I am here if there are any questions, and I believe the applicant's agent is also here to answer any questions.
Does council have any questions? There are no questions. All in favor? Carried.
So we're going to the donations. So.
Seven E, report number TR-2026-001, 2026 donations, and I will ask Michelle to speak to that, please.
Thank you. This is our annual donation report. We have a number of donations that are automatically awarded upon receipt of an application, and we've received those. That's on our first page or page 2 of the report. And then on page 3, we have a number of other donations that we have received applications for. They all meet the criteria. We've given donations to these organizations in the past, and I'm recommending that we award these again. And we have one new request in 2026 from, I'm not even going to try to say it, Bemaj, I am going to, I guess, have to. Bemajitun Search and Rescue is looking for a $500 donation from Seguin as a proportional share of a $9,000 budget for the entire district of Parry Sound. And I'm here to answer any questions if council has any.
Does council have any questions? Councillor Getty?
No, I was just going to say, I read the report. I'm in support of the application as it's submitted, or the request as it's submitted. Thank you.
Councillor Fellner?
I'd rather speak quietly. I have one question for Michelle though. Do you know this the Parry Sound High School / PSI food program? What do you know much about that, or can you tell me more about that? I see they wanted a little bit more money this year, so.
Yeah, we haven't had an application from them for a couple of years. It is for a food program at the high school that also covers the public school. I do have a little bit more information on it. I don't have it here with me at present, but it does serve Seguin students.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a little concern that, especially current times, I mean, people are depending more and more on the food banks, and it seems the price of groceries is so high that perhaps is there a way we can wiggle a bit more money for this food program? I'd like to give them, see if we can. I'm for everything else, I think. I certainly will want to support the search and rescue as well, but I think it's important to make sure that we fund this food program the best that we can, especially in this day and age. I don't know what anybody else thinks of that, or I don't know if there's a way to do that, or yeah.
Councillor Adams?
I agree with Terry. There's a lot of kids that get to school and they don't have lunch. My daughter's a teacher, and I know they have the same problem at St. Peter's. And I think we should try to add more to contribute to the food drive, because there's a lot of kids that don't have food when they go to school.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, your turn.
Thanks very much. This might turn up some of the money, I don't know, for the school program, because I'm all in favor of giving them as much as we can. Could somebody explain to me what the function of the Maple Lakes Club is? What is their function that benefits our township?
The Maple Lake Club has been around for quite a long time. It's a social club. It has been part of the automatic awarding of annual taxes for the last 20 years.
I recognize that, but do we know what they do to benefit our senior or our community?
They are a social club. Apparently, they do get together. That's all that I have, really.
Okay, I guess from my personal perspective, I'd rather take the dollars and feed some students that are trying to learn. Even though I know it's been on the books for a long time, but that's my personal opinion.
The clerk would like to speak on that.
Just some background, the Maple Lake Club, usually they ask for, is it also a rebate of the taxes, Michelle? Because they look
That's
after
correct.
the school, the old schoolhouse on
Mm.
Swords Road in Village of Swords.
So does that mean there's no cash transaction? They just get a discount on their taxes for the Swords Road School?
That's correct.
Okay, so that doesn't turn up any money for feeding students. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to add? Oh, sorry, Councillor Getty.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I mean, we're sitting at $826 left. I think some of that money would be better served, and I have no problem taking some money out of that. I know that we always get drips and drabs that come in later in the year, but I think maybe, you know, I'm in support of taking some money out of there to put it into a food program. And if we happen to find some pennies from heaven, you know, through the year, we've done it before where we haven't had any donation money. And in special circumstances, we have been able to come up with a little bit to help out. So I think that would be my position on it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jason.
So I'll perhaps ask Michelle just to provide some clarity, but there, with the donations that are listed within this report, there remains a balance of about $826 left in that account. That is, if I'm correct, that is the total amount, including if we were to make the new $500 donation to the search and rescue group. Is that correct, Michelle?
That's correct. Yes.
So there's $826 left. We're talking about a $500 difference to fund the food program at Perry Sound High School and PSI. There's ample funds available, leaving still a couple $100 in the bank, if that is council's desire, is to fulfill the $1,000 request rather than the 500. So if you would, I'm seeing a bunch of hands that we'll take that as direction. I think Michelle's nodding and smiling, so we can fill in whatever it is that the clerk wants you to do, and then we can.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby approve the following 2026 donations. 295 McPherson Cadets, $1,100. Rosso Horticultural Society, $3,000. Whispering River Music, $3,000. Safe Quiet Lakes, $2,000. Sunday Night Hockey, $3,000. Festival of the Sound, $3,000. Rotary Three-Pitch Tournament, $1,750. Perry Sound High School PSI Food Program, $1,000. Humphrey Soccer League, $1,000. Bemagitoon Search and Rescue, $500. Could I have a mover? All in favor? Carried. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the statement of the Treasurer for 2025, remuneration of elected members attached as Schedule A to this resolution, and the remuneration of appointed members attached as Schedule B to this resolution. Can I have a mover? And a seconder? No, it's all in favor? Carried. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby accept the resignation of Christine Cameron from the Seguin Recreation and Culture Committee and thank Ms. Cameron for her service on the committee. Mover? Seconder? All in favor? Carried.
Accepted Mrs. Cameron's resignation, but when would we resolve the matter of filling the spot? Like, is it council's responsibility? I guess this is a question for the clerk, because this came up at the last meeting. Okay, is it council's responsibility to solicit or decide whether we're gonna fill this vacancy or how we're gonna fill it, or is it up to the rec committee?
So you're correct, Councillor Felder. It is council's authority. If the committee has people they would like to recommend, they usually do that
Yeah,
to
okay,
council, and then council just does the resolution for the appointment.
okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby authorize the following members of council to attend the 2026 Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities Conference to be held on May the 11th to the 13th in Timmins, Ontario. Reimbursement of expenses will be as per township policy. Would anybody like to attend that conference? Okay. Madam Mayor, I'll put you down. Anybody else? Is that it, everybody? Yes? Can I have a mover? Do I just have to say her whole name that she's going?
Yeah, Marianne McDermott is fine.
Mayor Ann McDermott will be attending the FONM conference. Can I have a mover? And a seconder, Ken Adams. All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2026-009, being a bylaw to appoint a building official bylaw enforcement officer, Laura Adams, to the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Jason, would you like to speak on that?
I will be very brief, Madam Chair, and just recognize that our very own Laura Adams has put in a great deal of effort furthering her education to meet the qualifications as a building inspector, and we're quite excited to get this appointment done through you today, Council.
Thank you. Can I have a mover? Seconder? Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 2026-011, being a bylaw to stop up temporarily temporarily parts of the highways municipality known as Victoria Street West and Oak Street in the village of Rosso, now the Township of Seguin, District of Perry Sound, for the Seguin Dog Sled Mail Run, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. And you'd like to speak to that?
No, there's questions, but it's straightforward.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Can I have a mover, please? All in favor? It's carried. Bylaw number 2026-012, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a memorandum of understanding prescribed snowmobile trail land use permission between the Six Star Snow Riders Snowmobile Club and the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Does anybody have anything to say on that? Can I have a mover? Seconded by Terry Fellner. Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. Now we will do council reports. I'll start with you, Mr. Adams.
Okay. January the 14th, I attended a dinner with Wissahickon First Nation at the log cabin. It was an opportunity to meet the new chief and council. January the 15th, I attended the waste management meeting. Now it needs to be decided what route to take and what will be the most cost effective for the municipality and the ratepayers. January the 22nd, I attended the West Perry Sound Museum meeting by Zoom. January the 26th, I had a meeting with Jason, our CAO, to go over some concerns I had. January the 28th, I attended a recreation and culture meeting. We discussed the events that we've had and the events to come in 2026. I've had a lot of calls and emails regarding Ferris Lake. I've received many calls and emails regarding the direction Township is proposing for Horseshoe Lake Road. And I have to say I agree with my constituents who live on the road or folks who've access off Horseshoe Lake Road. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Getty.
Thank you, Chair. I also attended the special council meeting on waste management. The dinner with the Wissahickon First Nation new council. I had a committee of adjustment meeting, a library board meeting, and I was also able to attend the public presentation by staff on the official plan review on the 21st of the month. And I thought that it was well presented and there was some good questions asked by the people that were in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fellner.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I as well attended the dinner with Wissahickon and it was a very nice meeting and it was very nice to meet them and a lot of commonalities there I found. I also attended the special meeting for waste management. I think we made some good progress there with staff. think staff is going to come back with some, hopefully with a phased approach that's going to make sense to everyone, and we can move on with this and start saving some money. So really, really pleased with that. I did attend the Roma meeting a few weeks ago in Toronto. Thankfully, it was before the big storm and we got out in time, but it was storming up here. CAO Inwood and I had a ministerial meeting with the Minister of Natural Resources, Mike Harris Jr. Very pleasant, personable fellow. We felt the meeting went well, but it's a work in progress. So as things develop, we'll discuss it. And the opportunity is right. Trying to think of anything else. No, I think it's sort of quiet. Well, I got out for a pretty big snowmobile ride yesterday, and I think it was just under 200K. So the trails are open. They're in good shape. There's lots and lots of people out. It was good to see the restaurants are full and gas stations are full. Had a good presence on the trail Saturday with the OPP, which is nice to see. Everybody having a good time and hopefully being safe. And from the looks of the weather forecast, we're going to have another 4 or 5 weeks anyhow, so that's good. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, your turn.
Several of my meetings have been kickoff meetings with Sage, which is the advertising agency that's been hired by the Y to launch basically the programming that's coming into the Tamarack North Center. So that was the first one was on January 14th, same night as the Wasauksing dinner. On the 15th of January, I met with Miranda Ketchison, who is the new general manager of the Tamarack North Center. She's hanging her hat right now in the Y Employment Center, but she is charged with organizing basically everything that's going to happen at the Tamarack North Center. A date I'd like you to put all on your calendar is Saturday, May 23rd. That is the confirmed date of the sneak peek hard hat party, which will be the first time the public has an opportunity to come into the Tamarack North Center. The building will still be partly under construction. It will be a gala event. Tickets will be $200 a piece. But I'd love to see all of council there. It's going to be quite a party. It's sneak peek hard hat party, rubber soled shoes only, and you will be provided with hard hats to take home. The 21st, we had another meeting with Sage and Tamarack. And on the 28th, I attended the Labor Market Group summary of 2025, which was absolutely fascinating. I took a few notes. I won't bore you, but I think it's interesting to note that the Parry Sound area, our unemployment rate is almost 5% less than the balance of Ontario. And overall long-term unemployment is challenging the youth far more than the other people. At the same time as many of us, I speak as one of the part, many people are putting retirement off across all parts of the population. And one of the things that's doing is we're holding jobs that should be turning over to some of the youth. The other thing I found interesting is that we have a net positive number of migrants into the Parry Sound area, 4,700 of them since 2016. And that group is primarily in the 25 to 44-year-old group. And that's interesting because they tend to be young families, they tend to be bringing kids, they tend to be buying homes, and they tend to be getting jobs in some of our important industries. And they're generally coming from other parts of Ontario to Parry Sound. So that was kind of fun to listen to. and more meetings on the Tamarack North Center, getting the sneak peek party organized. So please think about it and put it on your calendar.
Thank you. On January the 14th, I attended the Wissahickon First Nation dinner. It was fabulous. I had a really good time and got to know some of the people. It was very nice. I really enjoyed it very much. On January 15th, I attended the special waste management meeting. I thought that there was tons of good information, and I think we're heading forward, which is good news. On the 16th, I attended a Rosso Caring community meeting to plan our February lunch and learn. On January the 20th, I worked the lunch and learn for the day, and we learned about Parkinson's, and this beautiful lady came and did a dance. It was it was beautiful. It was so, I can't explain it. You have to kind of be there to and know what I'm talking about. On January the 28th, I attended a Belvedere Heights meeting in the morning, and then I attended a meeting with Craig about council, so I could see know what I was doing, which I guess it didn't work very well. And then I attended a dog sled run. We're doing the dinner at the dog sled run for the Rosso Memorial Hall, so I attended that meeting and got it together. When I attended the Belvedere Heights meeting, there was there's just so much going on there with the new build. It's going to be really exciting to see. We have a date to go in and have a look, so that's going to be pretty exciting stuff. I think there was more. I've had quite a few calls, and I have to say to Terry that the snowmobile trail is fabulous. It's better. I haven't seen it so beautiful at this time of year for so long, and it's been groomed at least 2, maybe 3 times already, which is it's perfect. It's just beautiful, and I was so happy to be able to have a good look at it. That's all for me. Thanks. Jason, your turn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of references, but the 41st annual Seguin Sled Dog Mail Run will be held Saturday, February 21st. This beloved event offers a chance to meet the dog teams, enjoy some amazing food, and take part in winter activities, including free sled dog rides. So anyone of interest, you can learn more on our website and social media channels. Please take a look, but it is coming very rapidly. And this year, I don't think we have to worry about the snow. I think we've got enough. Speaking of the snow and the cold temperatures, they've been ideal for preparing the outdoor skating loop here in Humphrey. With the high volume of snow, it has presented a few challenges. However, staff are working to open the loop in the coming days as conditions allow. So again, please watch for our website and social media channels for updates when the loop is open. And as we've talked about repeatedly, we've heard from several individuals and organizations looking to book their spring ice at the Humphrey Arena. If you've not yet inquired with your preferred dates and times, we encourage you to visit seguin.ca/ice to secure your spot. We are filling up quickly with nearly 50% of the spring ice allocation already committed. And last but not least, Seguin Township and the West Parry Sound District will be cheering on Parry Sound-born Megan Oldham as she represents Canada in freestyle skiing at the Olympic Games in just a few days. We look forward to cheering on local athletes whenever we can, and this is as big of a stage as you're going to find for someone from the Parry Sound area. So Megan knows that Seguin Township is behind her, I'm sure. That's it for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the board and committee minutes and agendas and the correspondence as presented on the agenda and an addendum for the February 2nd, 2026 meeting of council. Mover? Seconder? All in favor? Carried. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby proceed to a closed meeting at 4:21 PM. Litigation, that pertains to litigation or potential litigation, including matters before the administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board related to Ontario Land Tribunal Appeal Minor Variance Application Number A 2025-0026-M, Rouse, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipality or local board employees related to West Parry Sound OPP Detachment Board representatives. Mover? All in favor? Moving into closed. The Council of the Corporation of the Townships of Seguin does hereby rise from the closed session and declare the regular meeting reconvened at 4:30. Moved by? Seconded? All in favor?
So Terry's gonna declare again for this one. He can stay, he's just not gonna participate.
Oh, he's just, okay. Bylaw number 2026-014 being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and clerk to execute the minutes of settlement between Evan Westerby and James Rouse and the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, re Ontario Land Tribunal Case OLT-25-000693, minor variance A 2025-0026-M, 13 Robin Road is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Mover? Seconder? All in favor? Carried. With that?
Terry's back.
The Corporation of the Township, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby support the appointments of Leslie Harris Jones and Christine Kasluk as citizen representatives to the West Parry Sound OPP Detachment Board. Moved by? Seconded by? Ken Adams. All in favor? Bylaw number 2026-013 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of meetings of council is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Moved by? Seconded by? All in favor? The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this meeting of council at 4:31 PM to meet again on Monday, March the 2nd, 2026, or at the call of the mayor. Moved? All in favor? Thank you.
Hi, Ed, will you just send us that email, please? Thanks.